Hey, Snackers, this is Kareem Iskander.
Hey everyone, Matt Napoli here.
Welcome to episode 199 of Snack Minute.
Ooh, 199. This week, we are going to be talking about MCP servers again, but we have a new guest with us, Bernie. Bernie, if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself, and then we'll jump right into it.
Sure. I'm Bernie Claremont. I'm part of the ThousandEyes team in the product org and work as a technical marketing engineer with a group of other folks that are all under the product solutions architect team. And I've been at ThousandEyes since like 6+ years now, so around for a minute. Super stoked to be part of Cisco and joining the Snack Minute. It's awesome.
And well, we love what you guys are doing with ThousandEyes in general as a product. It's really well designed, and our customers love it, and I love using it. You have really solid APIs, so I'm excited that you're bringing in MCP, and clearly you've built an MCP server just for ThousandEyes, which looks to be in alpha. So tell us a little bit about what you've put together, and the use case around the integration of AI with ThousandEyes here.
Sure. Let me just pop in here. I mean, I think, really having an MCP server really helps empower IT, operations, the NetOps teams. They can use like natural language process and a reasoning model to really streamline their operations and get a lot more intelligence out of it, like instant intelligence, just being able to ask it questions. So, we're seeing the trends with AI assistants and things like that, and, having those built into your UI, but then taking it to the next level where customers are asking us, how do we use your data, but have it, in our platform, for example, if they're building their own agent system, or how do I incorporate this directly into ServiceNow so that my help desk users can use the UI and we can meet them where they are, but give them, really rich, monitoring data as you've seen with ThousandEyes. So that's really just creating that conversational, AI access so they can, resolve issues faster. We have a host of tools that are available as part of the alpha. We're adding more. So this list is actually already expanded since I created it the other day. We're looking at adding things like the ability to analyze dashboards, for example, to say, hey, over the last 24 hours, I have a help desk dashboard. Tell me the folks are having the worst issue. But I think the big thing with MCP is not just front-ending your APIs, but actually having a set of tools. So that's what we've done is, we have some where like list test, that's a direct API call, but taking that and correlating that into troubleshooting workflows as well and providing that extra context. I think the other part really is the endpoint monitoring as well, is really come up with customers about like, hey, how do I empower those things? And then, adding the extra context of larger outages and BGP. I think, we wanted to keep it really simple. So there's a couple of different ways. All you need to really use is your OAuth bearer token, but we also have OAuth as another option too. So you can integrate into Cloud Desktop, Cursor, whatever your client is, you can pretty much add ThousandEyes to it. With Cursor, you're actually able to use streaming HTTP. In Claude, I have it more set up with STDIO, so you have to have npm and Node installed in order to run that. But again, it's super straightforward to set up and super straightforward to use. We also have templates on our platform to monitor your MCP servers if you want. So I think that's another aspect to think about, is monitoring those servers and those AI models is becoming increasingly important. And so we make it really streamlined to be able to set that up. I think the biggest thing is after you set up, you need to go back in and add your credentials for the auth token and things like that. And this is an example of monitoring our MCP server.
It's like MCP inception.
Exactly. And then, additionally, the API, test template can go in and verify, hey, is it the correct model, things like that. Run an actual query, stuff like that. So
it's cool. I like the way you guys are approaching it, because for me, it's kind of been like MCP is another abstraction layer on the API service. But the fact that you're taking that customer feedback and applying that to the context makes it way more useful out of the box, because we could sit there and go, well, what APIs are available to us? I'm going to ask the questions in that context, but making it more so, hey, how are we actually using the service, the ThousandEyes service, and then applying it to the MCP server? I mean, that's genius. And I'm really excited to see how it plays out when you demo this.
But you guys have done a really good job in general listening to our customers and approaching a lot of the feature set that you release in ThousandEyes that way. I mean, we've had multiple guests on our on Snack Minute talking about features, and typically they come from a customer feedback. We built this feature because our customer said X, Y, and Z. So kudos to you guys for doing so and listening to our customers.
Thanks. I mean, it's been fun to watch it, evolve and how quickly it's come on. I mean, MCP is just a year old now, and we're already, seeing the benefits of it. I mean, it just celebrated its year birthday in November. Right. So I think the next piece that we'll really see the evolution is going to be the agent to agent pieces, because as you add more MCP servers, you end up with a lot of tools, and you can kind of end up with tool sprawl, and it slows down your conversational workflows. So that's going to be the next piece, is that agent orchestration. And I think, you showed that previously in an example you did with MCP about like routing and things like that. So I think that's like really important. We can list out like, what, ThousandEyes tools do I have? I think is something that's a simple query just to see like, hey, is your access working? And the other thing that's nice about MCP is it will tell you what the tools are for. So you can even ask like, hey, how do I use these tools? It'll provide you with sample prompts, things like that. So, we can see here that, this is using cursor as the example. I can see, I have account configuration. I think where we'll head, I mean, right now, this is all read only. So today it's only really reading things in. I think where we'll head in the future is to be able to make changes, set up tests, modify monitoring, things like that, help automate workflows for customers. But being able to pull back, outages, those kind of things, I feel is really important. And then, this is also being used to drive AI Canvas. It'll be used for Cisco Cloud Control. Our AI assistant today that's built into our platform does use parts of MCP, but mainly it's its own model. So as we kind of evolve, we'll start to move that over as well. But I think, if we take it, another level, let's just see like, if I was somebody trying to troubleshoot, I could say, hey, I have users complaining about Microsoft Teams today. Are there any outages that are going on? Or I could say, from this particular location, maybe it's San Francisco, I'm having customers that are complaining about a wireless event. Can you help me troubleshoot that? So the MCP server looks at the tests that are running within ThousandEyes. If you have an Internet Insights subscription, it'll look at the outages associated with that, and then it will categorize that and show you, what's going on. And then I think, another piece, we'll kind of wait here as it comes back. I could click over, I guess, and just show like what it outputted earlier.
I think you get a lot of customers complaining about outages for Microsoft Teams, huh?
Exactly. That, like the recent Slack outage, Cloudflare outage, for example, took down a lot of stuff. That little Amazon outage that happened a little while ago.
The little
one. Yeah, little one.
So, I can see here that, there's a direct Microsoft, there aren't any direct outages happening right now, but in the last 24 hours there were. Another example that I did earlier, let me see here, I think, I basically just, while there was an outage going on, and let me scroll back here a little bit, I asked it like, hey, were there outages today? It gave me a list of those outages and categorized that. I think that is something that's kind of interesting about the reasoning models too, is that, it changes, right? I mean, the model like interprets the data and then shows you what it's seeing. So in this case, it gave me a nice table that showed me application versus network outages. And then I came down and I said, what locations, were really affected by this, because that can help me troubleshoot. Like if folks are calling in from Chicago, that's going to help me isolate that.
Hey, Cleveland, Ohio's on that list. That's where I'm at.
Nice. And then I feel like the other thing that people struggle with is, how do I communicate this to an executive team? How do I, do I drop this into a Webex chat or things like that? You can use the MCP tool for Webex to create a space and communicate that out. And so here I just said, can you give me an executive summary for this outage, right? And it just goes through and categorizes and keeps it, what the severity is. I didn't ask for any of these things. It just automatically added that from the model. Gives me a nice overview of the incident that's going on, like how long it lasted. If it's a current outage and it's continuing on, it's going to give you that. And then provides a nice summary of that that's easy to digest. Again, showing you the locations and the timeline events. The other thing that I think was pretty cool is it gives you, again, I just asked for an executive summary. It came up and added the business impact. It added, what the recommendations are associated with it, as far as resolution and those pieces. And that's where I think things really become super powerful with these reasoning models and using the tool set that we have.
And it becomes even more powerful once you start bringing in other MCP servers, integrations with other products to have like this kind of correlation between the different data set to be able to pinpoint issues like Splunk MCP server, for instance, or you name it, or some type of network controller MCP server to see what's happening within the network itself. So there's a lot of cool use cases that that we can build on top of this, starting with the ThousandEyes MCP server. Bernie, I was going to ask you, what is where do you see the highest friction in getting started with any MCP server in general for our customers?
Boy, that's a great question. I think the friction usually is making sure that you're using a client that's approved by your AI governance or things like that, right? Making sure that you're tying that together. And then the other piece is, I think security comes up as a big thing associated with that too. So we're using, again, using the auth token, the OAuth token, or using OAuth to access keeps the connection secure. And so that's how, your roles and what permissions you have flow through as well. And then I think the other friction place is just, if you're making changes to the network, having, how do you automate those things, right? I think those are big places to work on. Just it's starting to get better, but you do see kind of like, hey, come up with a plan and then let me execute the plan and choose to execute the plan so it doesn't take your network down.
Yeah. As far as customer consumption, we mentioned earlier that this was an alpha. How do you see our customers leveraging this? When are there any particular dates that we're aiming for our customers to tap into it? And then, just so I'm clear, this is a hosted service. We're not expecting necessarily our customers to run this on premises, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, we're providing the MCP server as a service, and then you just query it for the tools. I think the thing is that way you can bring your own reasoning model to it or integrate it into your own workflow.
Okay.
I think for the more advanced customers, right, they've already got an agentic ops kind of platform that they're using, and we want to make sure we can meet customers with where they're at.
Makes sense. Cool. Well, unfortunately, we are running out of time, but Bernie is a first-time guest, and we don't have a lot of first-time guests anymore. So for those of you that have been staunch Snack Minute fans, you know what's coming. So Bernie, what superpower would you choose to have and why?
Boy, one of the things with ThousandEyes is you're allowed to you choose your own superhero. But if I had my own choice, it'd be teleportation. I'm impatient and I like to ski and be outdoors, and being able to just teleport to the top of the hill and ski down and go back. And then also, we fly all over the place. In this role, being able to just teleport there and not deal with the airport at all would be really awesome.
I love that and agree with you on both counts.
Yes, 100%. 100%.
All right. Well, Bernie, thanks for introing us to this wonderful tool. I'm very excited to start using it and talk about it. And snackers, I hope you get a chance to poke the ThousandEyes MCP server and find some use for it. So thank you guys so much for your time, and we'll catch you guys next time.
Thanks, Bernie. Thank you, snackers.
Thank you.